It's official. With the Carolina Panthers finishing the 2023 NFL season with the worst record in the league, the Chicago Bears have clinched the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. This is big news because it means the Bears must make a tough decision during the offseason. Do they stick with their young quarterback Justin Fields, who has improved a lot this season and shown high-level flashes, or do they move on and draft one of the top quarterbacks in this year's draft? There's an argument to be made here for both sides, but I think there is a correct decision that could greatly benefit the team in the long run. Here's the case for why the Bears should trade Justin Fields and draft a quarterback. Let's start by talking about Justin Fields' skill set and his development through his first 3 seasons in the NFL. This is important because the Bears must decide whether or not Fields is good enough for them to commit to him long term. Let's start by going back to 2021, Justin Fields' rookie season. Fields' first year in the NFL was rough. He completed less than 60% of his passes, had more interceptions than touchdowns, and took sacks at a higher rate than any other quarterback in the league. He was pretty productive as a rusher, averaging 35 rushing yards per game, which was 4th among all quarterbacks, but he definitely struggled as a passer in a lot of areas. His rookie struggles are very clear when you look at his catch-all metrics like PFF grade, QBR, and adjusted EPA per play, which were all quite low in 2021, as he ranked bottom 10 among all quarterbacks in each metric. While 2021 was a brutal season for Justin Fields, his 2022 season was much better. In 2022, Justin Fields took a step forward as a player, as his completion percentage improved and he had more passing touchdowns than interceptions. To be clear, he wasn't great as a passer yet. His accuracy was still below average, his decision making was a huge problem, and he led the league in sacks with 55. However, while his passing still left a lot to be desired, he ascended to another level as a rusher, recording 1,143 yards and 8 touchdowns on the ground, both marks ranking top 2 among all quarterbacks. He was really good in the second half of the season, as from week 8 to week 16, he completed around 64% of his passes, threw 12 touchdowns compared to just 5 interceptions, and averaged a ridiculous 97.4 rushing yards per game. Fields' improvement showed up both in his film grade and his efficiency metrics, as his PFF grade, QBR, and adjusted EPA per play all improved from his rookie season to his sophomore season. I want to make it clear that Justin Fields was not an elite quarterback in 2022. He improved and he was great as a rusher, but he wasn't great yet, and that's why his catch-all metrics were still pretty low despite him being so good as a rusher. Now this brings us to 2023, the best season of Justin Fields' career so far. In his 3rd season, Justin Fields took a big step forward as a passer. The counting stats didn't reflect much growth, but he was better as a decision maker. He was more accurate, and he improved at avoiding sacks. These improvements are obvious when you look at his turnover-worthy play rate, adjusted completion percentage, and pressure to sack rate from 2022 and 2023. Another area where Fields has grown a lot over the years is his deep ball throwing. In 2023, Fields was legitimately one of the better deep ball throwers in the league, ranking top 10 in PFF passing grade and adjusted completion percentage on throws 20 plus yards down the field. It's great to see Justin Fields improve year after year. That's what you want to see from your young quarterback. Unfortunately, I just don't think he's been good enough through his first 3 seasons for the Bears to not draft a quarterback with the number 1 overall pick. Although his accuracy and sack avoidance have improved, he's still just average in these areas, and that's a problem. Of course, he is an electric runner, and he's great at throwing the ball down the field, but he still struggles in a lot of areas as a passer, and I don't think he's quite good enough for the Bears to feel comfortable committing to him long term, at least in my opinion. I know some Bears fans will hear this and start to tune me out, but stay with me. Here are Justin Fields' catch-all metrics from the 2023 season. Here's his PFF grade, his QBR, and his adjusted EPA per play. Even in Fields' best season of his career so far, his efficiency in his film has not been all that great. These numbers are not the end-all be-all, but this is something the Bears have to consider. Man, all of that was pretty negative about Justin Fields. I do want to say that I am a Justin Fields supporter. I want him to succeed, and I think he is a solid quarterback. However, when you have this discussion about whether or not the Bears should draft a quarterback and trade Justin Fields, you have to be honest. And in my opinion, Justin Fields just hasn't been good enough for the Bears to give him a long-term contract in a few years. Another thing the Bears will have to consider when it comes to their decision on Justin Fields is contracts. Yes, I love contracts. This is important because Fields is going to be up for a second contract in a few years, and if the Bears draft a rookie quarterback, this gives them a lot more freedom when it comes to how much they're paying their quarterback. Right now, Fields is still on his rookie deal, and he has at least one more year left on his contract in 2024. If the Bears want to stick with him moving forward, they can pick up his 5th-year option and keep him for 2 more years before he becomes an unrestricted free agent in 2026. At that point, they would likely sign him to a big contract. Spotrac.com has Fields' market value set around a 6-year, $283 million contract worth around $47.1 million per year. That would make him the 6th highest paid quarterback in the league. I do want to point out that these numbers from Spotrac are not perfect. There's no guarantee that Fields would be offered this kind of contract on the open market, but if that's what he's going for in a few years, that's kind of scary, and I'm not sure the Bears would feel comfortable signing a contract that big. Of course, things could change in the next 2 years. Maybe 2 years from now, the Bears do feel comfortable giving Fields a big contract that lasts until around 2032. Unfortunately, the Bears don't have time. They don't have 2 years to make a decision. They have to decide right now whether or not to keep Fields. The time to make a decision is now, and I'm just not sure they're ready to make that big of a commitment. Now, if they don't keep Fields, they can draft a quarterback with the top pick in this year's draft. For the sake of this discussion, let's assume they draft USC quarterback Caleb Williams. According to Spotrac.com, if the Bears do draft a rookie quarterback, they would sign him to a 4-year contract estimated to be worth around $38.3 million total and $9.6 million per year, with a $24.8 million signing bonus. Of course, they also get a 5th-year team option, which they can exercise after the first 4 years of the contract are up. At that point, Williams would receive a 5th year, and the value would depend on a multitude of factors, including his age and if he makes a Pro Bowl or is named an All-Pro. If the Bears do pick up Williams' 5th-year option, his rookie deal would end in 2028, and they could sign him to a long-term deal that would likely end in the mid-2030s. If the Bears draft a rookie quarterback, this would give them a huge advantage in terms of the contract, because a rookie quarterback would give them 2 extra years of very cheap quarterback play, and if that quarterback hits, that gives them a huge advantage over other teams. There's no guarantee that the Bears' rookie quarterback will work out in the NFL, but if they do, that would be huge for the team. Now, this all raises a big question. Who should the Bears take with the number 1 overall pick? I'm not gonna lie to you, I have not done a deep dive into all the incoming quarterback prospects. However, I do know that there are 3 quarterback prospects the Bears could consider with the number 1 overall pick. You've got USC quarterback Caleb Williams, who I've already mentioned, you have North Carolina quarterback Caleb May, and LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels. I don't think Jaden Daniels will get much consideration for the top pick, but I do think both Caleb Williams and Drake May would. Now, I've watched a little bit of Williams and a little bit of May, and I've looked at their numbers, and man, I've got to tell you, I've been really impressed. Both of these quarterbacks are super physically gifted. They're both dual threat quarterbacks who can generate huge throws down the field and are also extremely mobile within and outside the pocket. They've also both played at a very high level throughout their entire collegiate career. To be honest, neither of these guys are perfect, but that's not that big of a problem. They're both really young, and they both have extremely good physical tools and high-level traits across the board. We are early on in the draft process, but I love both of these guys, and I think both of them are more than worth the number 1 overall pick. Right now, I think the expectation is that the Bears would draft Caleb Williams, but both guys would be excellent choices, and I think the Bears would love both of these players. Alright, those are my thoughts on the whole Justin Fields conversation and whether or not the Chicago Bears should trade him and draft a quarterback with the number 1 overall pick in this year's draft. I know that I think there is a very easy decision to be made here, and I do, but that's easy for me to say. I'm just some random dude at home sitting in an office chair. It's very clear to me that this will be a very difficult decision for Bears GM Ryan Poles to make. I get that, and there are other factors that he has to consider, like the locker room. Trading Fields will have a big impact on the players on the team, and I get that, and that's something that I don't know how that's all going to work out. However, I trust that Ryan Poles is going to make the right decision, he's going to make a smart decision, and I think that eventually the Bears do trade Fields and take a quarterback in this year's draft.